Oh boy. First week back. Oh, Meghan. What a week to return to work. There's my dog. Hi, puppy. You had a lot going on. So, day one. You're a new mom. Newsflash. So, after a weekend where the president was caught trying to coerce, cajole, convince, intimidate the Secretary of State of the state of Georgia to change the election results so that it made it look as though Donald Trump had won the state, even though he had not. You took your opening to spread a new cause. Because it happened to you, you had a baby. You took up the cause of providing paid time off for new mothers, a revolutionary concept that no one's ever thought of before. And, convinced yourself that your party, the Republican Party, should be taking up this cause as well. And since you're the party of family values, I'm surprised, actually, that the Republican Party hasn't already passed this kind of legislation. I wonder why that is. Why hasn't the Republican Party embraced paid time off for maternity leave? You specifically denied the same coverage to fathers, but you just thought it was more palatable to be able to pass something about new moms because you're a new mom and you just became a new mom and you just experienced it. Good for you. So when it came time to actually discuss the big hot topic of the day from the weekend of the president's illegal, treasonous, seditionist act of trying to change the election results, you just said that this was, something this is not something we need to worry about. He's just going to rant. You were focused on putting that in the past and let's get to the future where Joe Biden is elected. Unfortunately, that's not what a whole lot of people who pay attention to what Donald Trump wants to do. And you seemed to forget about those 74 million in that moment that you so fervently advocated for their feelings in day two. Day two, where you found out that Joy doesn't miss you. We really didn't either. And it took up all of 2 days for you to bring up your father. My dad died too, but I don't feel the need to tell people that all the time. So, Joy Smackdown day 2. Thanks, Sanjay Gupta, for all the help. I'm sure you've thanked him in the past. You just had to make sure you did it on air. Good job. Day 3. You can't let, I want to get them all right. Dr. Reverend Senator Raphael Warnock. He's got a lot of titles because he's a smart guy. You just can't let him answer a question. You push to try to trap him into saying something that you can then use to say he is a radical left socialist agenda who wants to pack the court. And it's so predictable and terrible. You're not a hard-hitting journalist. You're not a debate moderator. When someone answers the question, you don't need to ask it 3 fucking times to get the same answer. You need to learn to listen. So you got a little smackdown and interrupted for that, and then you lost your train of thought. You got too distracted and you couldn't finish your segment on the history of Kelly Loeffler. Again, you were off on maternity leave. The rest of us were paying attention. I'm sure you were at home. We didn't need a lesson from you about who she was or what was going on. We've all been there. We've all been watching. We know who she is. And you got lost in your translation of who Kelly Loeffler might be and abandoned your own segment on a political issue. You couldn't, I don't know. You can't just wing it. You can't, you failed at your job in that moment so hard. Day 3. And then trotted out the producer to explain, oh no, we've got problems with the delay and we had timing, we were late and there's no issue here, everything's good. Just so that people wouldn't blame you for your own mistake? I don't know. So later that afternoon, there was terrorist activity at the Capitol. We come on the air very serious on Thursday, the only good hair day of the week. So you get a 4 out of 5 for bad styling this week, Meghan. But Thursday was your one win. Even though the jacket was terrible, the hair looked good. So we're going to give it to you as a win. And yeah, that whole event on Wednesday happened to you. Just you. Because you can't frame anything outside of your particular experience or those closely around you. There's a whole world outside the bubble of the McCain family. And I don't think you actually know what that means, but you should try. Because Friday, you said you'd done a bunch of soul searching. It doesn't sound like you really have. Got to dig a little deeper, Meghan. Go a little harder to understand your white privilege, to understand your unique perspective, which, by the way, is a valuable perspective, but it can't be the only thing you trade on. You have to be able to balance that perspective with a larger view of what the world is. And unless you're willing to develop some empathy and some understanding and some listening skills, you're never going to get there. And that fishtail was terrible. But what are you going to do? You're going to come back on Monday. Maybe there'll be articles of impeachment to talk about. Maybe the president will resign. By the end of the week, you were calling for his head on a platter, even though you started the week saying the ramblings of a has-been. Maybe someday you'll start to recognize your place in the complicitness. Ooh, is that a word? Is that right? That's not right. Your complicity? I'll look it up later. How you may have been complicit in enabling the president by, in your words, not focused on the little things. Like mass misinformation about the election, complete and utter fabrication and lies about our electoral process, dereliction of duty to protect us from a deadly virus. Um, the the collusion with Russia, which you did not want to participate in, all the whole like from the whole year, Meghan, you've been not willing to stand up against him, and you own the Republican Party as if it is still the Republican Party of your father, and it's not a party that you technically are controlling or have a part of, other than your place as a pundit on a talk show. And if you want to make some difference, go talk to those leaders. There's an opportunity to use your father's legacy to try to shame them. But are you doing that? I don't know. If you're doing it, you're certainly not as loud about it as you are about cancel culture, which isn't really a thing, as much as you think it's a slippery slope when a private company cancels a senator's book deal because the senator's a shithead. Think, Meghan. Just think. You're not dumb. You're just limited in scope. Get a gay stylist. Do some deep thinking. Let's see how we do in week 2.